Okay, we're live streaming. Hello, everyone. Look, it is just so wonderful for Carol Anne and I to be able to bring you these short support videos. It's such a big time right now. We're having lots of conversations, aren't we, Carol Anne, with people? And I'd like you to share that conversation you just told me about, if you wouldn't mind right now.
We forwarded an absolutely beautiful video. I sent it to a lot of the people in my network. And one of the girls had written back and she said, I have cried for the last 2 weeks solidly about this virus and what's happening. And she said, watching that video has made me connected to what is going on, and I feel so much better now. So we feel that this is what we all need to do. We need to step out of that drama part and step into some other parts, and to just connect with you every day, just to let you know we're here, and if there's anything you want to talk to us about, let us know, and we're more than happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, we're on your team. Now this video, we are, Carol Anne. What a blessing. So the video Carol Anne's mentioning is a gratitude video for the contravirus. It's fantastic. I'm going to get the link and I'm going to put it in the comment section of this video. So anytime you want to see it, you can. The video remains really easy to find. All our videos do, because we're coming to you from Angel Heart Radio. And when you go to the Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, if you look, I think, well, on my computer anyway, I'm not sure how it works on your phone, but you'll figure that out. Look for the videos and you'll see our playlist in there. Boom. Easy.
Yep. And this is it. We don't want to make it difficult for you. We want you to be able to find what you're looking for easily and not get stressed about, I can't find it, I don't know where it is. And so by doing this, it's making an easy resource for you. And that's what our whole aim is, as well as being here to help you find some balance and in everything that's happening at this time.
Yeah. Because we're endeavouring to share some resources with you every day. Little go-tos, little, oh, I just need a boost, because part of what's happening here, and it's happening not just for you guys, it's happening for us as well. There are waves of emotion. People are experiencing grief, and it can be for all sorts of things. Carol Anne and I are very hands-on with our grandchildren, for example. Well, the time has come for us to make that choice that for the time being, in support of ourselves and our families and our communities, we need to do things in a different way. It was a big, wasn't that a big decision?
It was a big decision, and lots of tears and things.
Yep.
You know, we've got the school holidays coming up, Easter, birthdays, Mother's Day. And so, you know, I just sort of dissolved in a whole lot of tears today, and then I brought it back into balance. And you know, this is somewhere that we've never been before, none of us. Yeah. And you know, it's a big wake-up call for all of us and for the planet. Yeah. And we're all one. And it's amazing when we work it out, how we can see how we're all connected. We're all one, no matter where we are, no matter where we live.
And the thing is, it's not about being negative about the situation. For me, this is a very empowering, positive choice. I have lost a lot of sleep this week, knowing that the choice was coming, and yet somehow praying I wouldn't have to make it, because I pick my grandkids up twice a week, take them to school in kindy, take them home in the afternoon, spend time with them. Every second Wednesday is Abby Day. Spend the whole day with Abby. So it's huge. It's huge. And yet, God bless you. I want to say a big thank you to my daughter, Erin. You took the pressure off. You rang me this morning and said, Mum, we need to have the conversation. Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful.
Because I was finding it so difficult. And here's the wave. So you and I this morning, thank you, Carol Anne. We got on the phone together and we had a good cry, and this is the thing, we really feel that it's important to share with you today. It's okay to be anything. It's okay to have your feelings about what's going on. When we ride the wave and find a way to positively generate compassion for ourselves and others and gratitude. So talking to Annette McCoy, you know, the fabulous Annette McCoy, just about half an hour ago, and I was saying to her, there are things that, okay, so I've got these 2 days a week. That means I can now do things that normally time conversions don't allow. So there's a blessing right there.
There it is.
Not what I choose, but it's what I have.
Yes. And so this is about us finding a balance with everything that's happening now. And I was thinking this morning, well, this is going to give me a chance to put the second coat of paint on some places and to perhaps even read a book or two and do all of those kinds of things. And I'm setting up a little area where I can move this computer and it's in a separate room and I can make it up and do what I want. So as much as I would much rather be spending the time with the grandchildren and my beautiful daughter and everybody, we have to find out what the balance is. Yeah. And the thing also we have to remember is not to be hard on ourselves, you know, not to think, well, what are you crying for, silly woman? Because this is the only place we can experience emotion. And we need to experience our emotions and let them out. After all, we're in this human body for a reason. So, you know, let's be human, but let's find the balance in everything.
Mm. So if you need to talk to someone and you don't have anyone in your community that you feel you can have these conversations and not get stuck into them, reach out to Carol Anne and I.
Yep.
Right? We're here for you.
Yes.
It's part of what Angel Heart Radio and Angel Light 777 is about. Mm-hmm. Carol Anne and I both feel very strongly that in order to support our communities, we must also support ourselves. Yep.
Yep. Because if we come and look at it from a purely spiritual point of view, we can only live our own life. This is our journey in this lifetime. Yes, we have our family, but we have to support ourselves first and foremost. And so that's for some people is a bit hard because they would just think they're here for everybody on the outside. But you're here for you, your soul. This is your soul's vehicle. Your body's your soul's vehicle in this lifetime. So we need to look after it and we need to keep it healthy. And these are the things that we can be doing in this time, you know, eating healthy, doing exercise. We can go for a walk around the block. We just don't do it in a big group. And there's little things that we can be doing like that and looking after ourselves and our body as well as our mind and our spiritual side.
Yeah. And look, you've really said something really important there. We are still in a position where we can go for a walk around the block. Some people aren't.
No.
So another reason to be grateful. It's finding the reasons to be grateful in every given moment. And I understand, I mean, trust me, I really understand that sometimes that's a pretty big ask. And sometimes I just need to have a darn good cry.
Yeah.
And then I get through that wave and it's like, okay, I feel connected again now because that level of emotion just kept rising and rising, asking me, please release me. Right? Call your angels in. I need a release. Call them in. Oh, thank you, angels. And it's amazing how quickly that can help to restore balance.
Yeah. And just thinking for a moment about exercise, when you said, you know, we're still lucky we can go for a walk around the block. I can remember many years ago, I was reading a book and it was about a lady who wanted to lose weight. And she was a very, very large lady. So she didn't want to walk out and do a walk around the block or anything like that. So she used to do laps from her laundry to a clothesline, round the clothesline and back in again. Wow. And she kept increasing the number of laps and increasing the number of laps. And she lost all the weight she needed to do because in her mind, I'm doing exercise and her clothesline was the lap that she did from the back door, round the clothesline and back again. And I was just amazed at this. And the woman said, you know, I could go down and walk around the block now, but I choose not to. So I'd much rather just keep doing what I was doing. And so we're only limited by our imagination about what we can do. Get out.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, how often do you think you've got to have a gym membership and you've got to have yoga clothes and then you've got to have the right yoga class? I'm talking about myself, you've got to have the right class. You know, I'm like Carol Anne. But it's just suddenly just it's all clicking together in my head. What a load of BS. That woman used going around her clothesline from the laundry as her class.
Yeah.
And she focused on that. She did it.
Yep.
Wow.
She set herself a goal and she did it. And continued to do it even after she'd reached her goal.
By focusing on the end game, focusing on her desire, focusing on how it was going to work for her. This is fantastic. There's another resource I want to add in. Now, I don't know whether you guys have seen my Facebook page. It's this one. Right? That's the one. It's on my page. I'm also going to put this link into the comments for this video. This is, she says, the perfect song to be singing around your children over the next little while.
Hi, everyone.
Oops, Daisy, I'm playing it. I just can't think of them. I just can't remember it.
It's about my cells are healthy.
Yes, singing. It's a simple little song that's very, very catchy. I've been singing it all morning, singing in the shower, singing it at the clothesline, and it's amazing how much. And as she says in the video, it's about neuroplasticity as well. We've got to be very aware not to get stuck into imbalanced thoughts and feelings, because how easy is that right now, Carol Anne, if we're not aware?
It's very easy, because there's so much out there and it's ready to nab you. So just, you know, go into that place of love and just come through it. You don't have to get caught in it. You can see it all around you. That doesn't mean you have to get caught in it.
And the thing is, you will find out what you need to know. I literally do not watch any news programs. I do not check anything on the internet. I do not read any magazines, except Better Homes and Gardens here in Australia. I really love that book, magazine. So that was almost my go-to at the doctor's surgery, which of course magazines right now. We're not reading magazines when we go. And most of us, a lot of us aren't going out anyway. But my point is, and yet I always hear what I need to hear.
Yeah.
I'm never afraid that something's going to happen. And I used to be, but I'm never afraid anymore that something's going to happen that I need to know. It will come to my attention.
Yeah.
God will make sure that happens.
Yeah. Whereas I'm in a household where the news is watched, not necessarily by me, all the time, or a lot of the time. And so I've now developed a technique that I can be watching the news, doesn't matter what it is, and instead of being caught up in the drama of it, I just wrap it in love. I just visualize it. I just send love to it, and I just visualize it being wrapped in love. And that also is helping with the healing of the situation as well. And I quite often get asked, you know, how do you not get caught up in the drama of it? Well, you know, it's just practice. Just practice, because I can't help anybody if I'm caught in the drama. And that's my way of explaining it. If I'm caught up in the drama of whether I'm doing a reading, whether I'm watching the news, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm caught up in the drama, I can't help the people who are involved. So I've learned and trained myself over time to step away from that. It doesn't mean that, like this morning, I'm not going to have a good cry, because I needed to have a good cry this morning. So, you know, it's once again, it's balance. I'm really strong about balance in our lives.
Yeah. And it is, everything is about balance. So if we don't have balance, everything falls to one side or the other, you know? Yeah. So we're either in fear or maybe we're in whatever, denial. I don't know. So I think that's a great thing. See, you can do that. I can't. When I say I can't. I was going to see if I could put a difference in it. I just can't do it. I just get so caught up in it all, and so I really appreciate that about you. And there are other people who can do that. So if you are one of the people who can do that, that's great. If you're one of the people like me who simply can't do that, that's okay too, because our work will happen in a different way. While Carol Anne and others are doing that, we're doing something else. We're creating the field of grace in another way. And that's a very important reminder. There is an actual field of grace. It is up to us whether we choose to step into it or not.
Yep.
So let's just say, and I was, sharing this with Carol Anne this morning. Sometimes I'm in this really great connected space, and then all of a sudden, the other night, for example, when I realized about the hugs, with my grandkids, and I just got so overwhelmed with emotion. And first of all, I went to that place in my mind, Anayah, stop that, right? And then I realized, oh, hang on, denial doesn't create, it depletes.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, all right. So I had a really good cry about that, a really good cry. And then once that was over, it was like, oh, thank goodness for that. And then I felt connected again. I find a way, I deliberately find a way to be connected as soon as I have had that expression. I call the angels in to take all that emotion, wrap it all up, kiss it, and blow it out to the universe for healing, right? That's my way. You might have a different way.
Yeah,
Choice.
Well, when I realised about the hugs the other day, because I'd had to pick up my sick granddaughter from school and then go back home again, and it was like, instead of hugs, it was elbow taps, and I thought, oh, I'm a hugger. I need a hug. I need a hug. So I do deal with it slightly differently. I call on the angels and I ask them to help me, and I do those things. But then, like today, it had built up and built up and built up, and today I needed to have a big cry.
Yeah.
And it's like something also like as thinking about doing things different ways. Like I have a meditation group here every Monday night. Well, tonight's the last Monday night. We've got a big room and we can space ourselves out. But I think for everyone concerned, it's better that we call a halt to it for the moment. So the wonderful Anayah is going to help me set up a Zoom group for my meditation class. So, we're not going to be together in the same room, but once I get it set up and everything, we'll be able to have our meditation classes the same as normal. And perhaps somebody who couldn't come along another time because they had things to do the next morning, you know who? Probably
I know who you're talking about, because it's gone through my head too.
Be able to come along onto the Zoom session. So there's always this balance we can bring into it. And it's just when we stop and think, step out of the emotion, let's look at this practically. Yeah, we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this. And we're doing it together, everyone. If you have any, because, we're coming on every day with these support videos. If there's something you need us to talk about with you, please write to us, either in the comments here or send us a private message.
Yep.
And we would be only too delighted to address that for you and to support you in that way. It's, the thing that's kind of shocked me is I didn't realize how extravagant I was with things. Or reef the toilet paper off the roll, pull the tissue out, never thinking, oh, where's that tissue? I don't know, I'll get another one. I didn't realize how wasteful I had become. So I'm actually very, very grateful for this, because our resources are not a given. They are not a right. Mm-hmm. And so many of us are starting to understand, embrace, and actually be a little bit, I feel for myself anyway, a little bit in awe of how much we have.
Yes, we are very, very blessed.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting when we stop and think about the being wasteful and things like that. And this is another reason Mother Earth is letting us know she's not happy. And so these are all the things we need to think about. That at the moment, I'm like a bit of the, not quite the hygiene police, but it's like washing your hands properly before you do and after you do every single thing. Using that tissue, but then putting it straight in the bin because you've got to be careful of it this time. And all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to be aware of the things that we need to do, not just for ourselves, but we're a big community, and it's the whole community that will be affected. It's not just us personally, it's the whole community. And in Australia, so far, we have been very blessed. And so let's continue to work on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So in Australia, everyone, turning a blind eye, jumping into denial, saying it's not going to happen to you. Now, you know that I do not subscribe to doom and gloom thinking, but again, I feel this is a socially responsible aspect that we all need to take very seriously. Now, of course, you will make your own choices and decisions, but everything has a knock-on effect and everything does affect somebody else, and we're seeing that now very, very clearly. So it's time for us to come together instead of, you know, they've had to close Bondi Beach because we're looking at social distancing, and then you saw the photo of Bondi Beach where everyone was packed together. It's like, well, hang on a second. And a lot of young people aren't getting it. And Carol Anne and I were speaking about this morning. Now, if you are feeling angry with the younger generation, let's just remember, and I'm not saying all young people are disregarding, right? Please don't get me wrong. That is a big disclaimer here. But not everyone's going to get it yet. No, see, when we were kids, and there's 10 years between us, so it was even more for you. When we were kids, life was a very different place. Even when we were young mothers, we weren't social. We weren't out every day of the school holidays. We weren't socializing and going to events and activities. We were doing things at home with our kids. And one isn't right or wrong, but what I'm saying is we experience that and we can slot into that much more easily than someone who is just learning about that and learning about it in this way. So let's be very supportive of everyone and be mindful, as Carol Anne always says, of your words. They carry great weight, whether they're words spoken to, about, for, or internally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very. And another thing that we discussed this morning, that we, even at my age, I didn't live through the war, but the generation before me, they lived through war. And so we had this social distancing that we're not going to see our grandchildren for a little while. But the mothers and the daughters and the family members in the war, their sons, husbands, fathers went away to war. They didn't know if they were alive. They didn't know if they would ever come back.
Yeah.
We at least had the ability to pick up a telephone, to get on FaceTime or any of the other electronic things that we can do, whereas they had none of that. And so a lot of the people who are the generation older than me, they are having great difficulty at this time because it's bringing up memories of the past. And they, you know, it is very hard for them. So if we can support them in any way, then that's great. Whether it's just a friendly hello as you're walking down the street because you don't want to get too close to them, or, you know, just dropping a loaf of bread or a little cake or something at their front door and letting, just knocking on the door or saying, I've left you something, and then go. Yeah. Because they're also the ones who are most susceptible, the older generation, because they have a lot of, you know, underlying issues. So therefore that's where they're very susceptible. So it's about thinking of one another. You know, we're all in this together, and being compassionate, being kind, being loving, and being grateful.
Before we go, everyone, there's one more little story. And look, I know that the time may come, and it probably is coming faster than we realise, where you can't even drop a loaf of bread at someone's door. the point is, it's about being in a state of giving.
Mm.
You know, Karen, it's absolutely spot on here. How can we support our neighbours? But can you just share that last story before we go? Because a lot of people have elderly parents and relatives and loved ones in nursing homes, and they're not allowed to visit them at this time. And then, yeah, that's beautiful.
There was a beautiful thing on Facebook this morning, and there was this elderly woman in the nursing home, and so her family couldn't visit her. So her family had written out a note, a whole notebook, and it's like they're standing just beside the window with their notebook, and they had the words on here: Mum, we love you. Mum, we can't come in to see you, but we're thinking of you. And a whole lot of things like this they went through. And then on the very last page, they had drawn a big heart with Mum, might have been in, and then an arrow going through it. And they held it up, and they all stood around it and put their hands on the glass. And the mum on the inside put her hand on the glass around to each of them. And I just thought, how beautiful is that? They can't give her a hug, but they can tell her how much they love her. So there's always a way to get the message across. Yeah. And as for hugs, you know, I have to be one of the biggest huggers around, perhaps except for Anayah, but, you know, hugs are so important. Elbow bumps don't do it, but at least if it's an elbow bump, at least you know you're somewhere near them, you know. So.
Yeah. I'm very like you. I'm such a people connection person.
Mm.
So this is a tricky time in lots of ways. So, but you and I have made that decision that we're going to be responsible, and we're not going to hug, and we're not going to, you know, we're not going to do any of those things. We're going to do what we can while it's still okay to do so. Carol Anne's got a veranda with a big table, so we can meet around the table because we can keep lots of distance. I've got a table, we can do the same thing. But if that then changes here in Australia, then we will go with that as well, won't we?
Yeah, because it's not just you who's affected. Yeah. I know Anayah doesn't watch the news, but there was a wedding, I think it was last week, and a whole lot of people went to the wedding. One person already had the virus. 30 people now have the virus. So it's not just you that's affected. It's you can affect so many other people. So, you know, if you want to be one of those people who says, well, I'm not selfish, I'm not going to just think this is all about me, that doesn't work. No. Because it's all about the whole community, because just because it's you doesn't mean you're not going to affect anyone else. So,
and it is about you. It's about what you do that affects others. And do you know what it reminds me of, Carol Anne? Remember back in I think it must have been the 80s or 90s, it must have been 90s, when we had that massive ad campaign for HIV virus.
Yeah.
Remember? And there was the Grim Reaper and all that sort of stuff, which was a very scary image. But what they were saying is every person then of course it was sexually transmitted. So it was every person that you came into contact with sexually, you then went out into the community, and we saw what happened there. So let's not forget, everyone, this is not about a scare tactic. It's about, we already have this knowledge. We can use it to our benefit and to the benefit for the greater good. And then at the same time, we can go into gratitude for the knowledge, gratitude for the opportunities we have, gratitude for what we are learning, gratitude for what, and as Carol Anne said, imagine when the day comes and it's okay to go out and hug people. Oh, just imagine.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So just before we quickly go, another thing when I was writing to a friend today, it suddenly struck me. Okay, so we've been the caterpillar, we've been crunching along the leaves, we've now gone into our chrysalis. But boy, when we emerge, we're going to be beautiful butterflies. So, you know, some people can relate to that easier than saying go within or go into your cave. So perhaps you just need to think about being in the chrysalis waiting to become a butterfly.
That's beautiful. And what a way to end this particular support session.
It's been great. It's been great.
Fantastic. And thank you to everyone. Debbie Rose, if you're still watching, it's wonderful. Annette McCoy, everyone who's watching. Linda in the USA, you know who I'm talking about. There are so many of you that I know are getting really great value out of these little support videos, and we're so grateful that we can bring them to you. So we'll be back again tomorrow. You know, they're going to pop up at different times.
We're blessed to be able to bring them to you, and we realise that, and that we are very grateful for that.
Yeah. So if you have a subject for tomorrow or something you'd like us to talk about, get in touch with us and we'll do it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Hugs.
Bye for now. Big hugs.
Hug.
Okay.
Lots of love. Take good care. Remember to be kind. Kindness really has to be the new currency. Be kind. Spend it lavishly. Kind to yourself, kind to others. And also remember, remember, Debbie Rose was telling me, you know, her husband works in a supermarket. How amazing are these people? Now they have, in my view, they're like emergency services right now.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. They're there supporting us, doing the best they can.
And that reminds me, sorry, just quickly, this morning on email, I got an email from Hay House, and Tracy Reed is the CEO of Hay House. And he was saying that in parts of California, you cannot buy milk, you cannot buy bread, and I can't think of the third thing, but it's one of our daily staples. Imagine if you could not go out and buy some milk or some bread.
Which doesn't mean don't go buying it full of milk, for crying out loud.
This is what's happening.
I hear what you're saying. It's about not taking anything for granted any longer. And, you know, we may end up going back to powdered milk. Remember that? Because there was no fresh milk?
Yep, I remember that.
Different times. However, I tell you what.
It was better than nothing.
It became just like regular milk after a while, didn't it? There was nothing else, and that's what we got used to. Sunshine powdered milk came in that tin, and my sister Sue and I, we used to go, I can still remember it, in my grandmother's kitchen. We'd go in and she had the old-fashioned range. It was, you know, it was a kitchen in the 50s, right? Actually early 60s, and it had been a kitchen built a long, long time before in her little cottage. And we get the tin open and we get a little cup, put some in, mix up to a paste with water, sneak off with it and eat it up. We thought it was fantastic.
Yep.
There you go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been great. Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Bye.
See you. Bye. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.